or picnic area. There are these bear-safe garbage bins everywhere throughout the park.
Olá pessoal, sejam bem-vindos ao meu canal. Meu nome é Natália, mas você pode me chamar de Nath. Eu adoro reagir e aprender sobre outros países, especialmente aqueles bem diferentes do meu, em termos culturais e econômicos. Então, se você gosta desse tipo de conteúdo, fica à vontade de se inscrever. Vou adorar ter você por aqui. Bom, nesse vídeo eu vou reagir a dicas que você deve saber antes de visitar Banff, o Parque Nacional. Então é isso, sem mais delongas, e vamos para a reação.
Visiting Banff is a trip of a lifetime, but now more than ever, it's important to plan ahead. It's busy, it's expensive, and you want to be prepared for weather. As someone who lives just 3 hours away, I consider myself pretty lucky to be able to visit as often as I do, which has given me some valuable insights and tips to share with you. So, here are my essential travel tips to know before visiting Banff National Park, Canada. For most visitors, you'll fly into the Calgary International Airport, code YYC, and from there, it's a 90-minute drive to Banff. It's along a double-lane highway on a flat road, and it gets more scenic as you go. If you don't have a car, you can take a bus or a shuttle from Calgary, starting from around $80 per adult each way from the airport. This is on the Banff Airporter, or about $40 from departure points within Calgary. This includes your luggage too. It's cheaper to book a round-trip ticket, so consider that if you already know your departure dates.
Caramba, as estradas de vocês são lisinhas.
Every visitor to Banff National Park and all national parks in Canada need a park pass to visit. It costs $21 per day for a family or a group, so basically $21 per car. If you're solo, it's going to cost $10.50. When you come to the park entrance, there's a gate at the highway where you'll purchase your pass. The attendant will ask you how many days you'll be in the park to determine how much you'll pay. So if you plan to be there for 3 days, it will cost you $63. But another option is buying a Discovery Pass, which is going to be valid for 12 months and gives you access to not only Banff, but all national parks and historic sites in Canada. So basically, if you plan to be touring around for 7 days or more, it makes sense to buy this type of park pass. And if you buy a pass in advance, you don't have to wait in the busy lines at the park gate. You can stick to the right lane and drive right through.
Gente, até o momento eu achei tudo tão prático. Eu sempre falo aqui, né, que eu admiro muito o turismo que vocês fazem. Aqui no Brasil nós temos parques, mas muitos não é possível você entrar sozinho, você precisa de um guia turístico. E isso acaba limitando muitas pessoas a acessarem o lugar, sabe? Eu não sei, mas eu tenho a impressão que no Canadá é incentivado mais o movimento de autossuficiência de vocês. Então isso acaba estimulando muito mais as pessoas a fazerem as coisas justamente porque elas podem fazer por conta própria. É a impressão que eu tenho. Me deixa saber aqui nos comentários se eu estou errada. Mas eu amo como vocês fazem isso aí.
The thing about accommodations in Banff is it's going to be expensive. I mean, look at these prices for a 2-night stay in July 2023. But you do have options, so let's go over those. Most people stay in the town side of Banff, which is small, compact, picturesque, and very walkable. If it's your first time, I do recommend staying in town. It's stunningly scenic, and this way you'll have the best access to all the major sites and attractions.
É lugar perfeito. Olha como tá perto da natureza. E tem hotel. O que seria aquilo ali? Parece castelo.
Whether you have a car or if you're taking shuttles or transit. The Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel is the iconic landmark here, nicknamed the Banff Castle. It's a hotel full of history and luxury charm. If you can afford it, stay here. But if not, you're definitely not missing out. I like the Fox Hotel because it's reasonably priced and has this really cool underground grotto hot tub, where you can see the opening to it here. Excuse the steamy GoPro footage, this was the only camera we had at the time. Other options, there's the Moose, which is a bit nicer and has a really great rooftop hot tub.
Gente, como os
I also
hotéis de
like
vocês
staying
são
at the
lindos.
Elkin Avenue. It's right in the heart of downtown and it's very pet friendly. The Dorothy is at the end of town, but it's renovated and inexpensive. I do have a full blog post about the cheapest places to stay in Banff that are actually nice. I don't cover any of the ones that are run down, so check that out for more options. My biggest tip about saving money on accommodations in Banff, though, is to book your hotel as early as possible. This is when you'll get the best rates. You can also consider staying in the town of Canmore, which is 20 minutes outside.
Caramba, aqui dá pra ver que realmente esse lugar tá imerso à natureza. Deve ser uma viagem muito, muito revigorante. É incrível como vocês têm lugares assim tão próximos à natureza e é tão fácil de chegar, sabe?
Side of Banff. It's just as beautiful and sometimes a little cheaper, but not always. Either way, it's a great mountain town vibe here too. There are also some hotels in Lake Louise, which is about a 40-minute drive from the town of Banff. Of course, there's the famous Chateau Lake Louise, but there's also the hamlet itself, which has about 5 other hotels to choose from. When you're in the town of Banff, it's very pedestrian friendly, and in recent years it's become a really nice walkable community, with a couple of the main roads being shut down to traffic in peak summer months. So within the town site, you can pretty much walk anywhere you need to go. However, to see all the major sites outside of town, having a car is the easiest way to get around and do things on your own schedule. But if you don't have a car, don't worry. The vast majority of tourists can get to all the hotspots just by using shuttles or the public transit system. This is called Rome Transit. And actually, driving within the town itself is becoming very hectic, and finding a parking spot is a nightmare. So even if you do have a car, you're encouraged to park at the train station lot in Banff and take the shuttle to Lake Louise and Moraine Lake. More on that in a minute. From Banff, you can take the Rome Transit bus to the following locations: Canmore, the Cascade Ponds, Johnson Lake, Lake Minnewanka, the Cave and Basin, which from there you can find trailheads to multiple hikes, the Gondola, and the Hot Springs, Johnston Canyon, Lake Louise, and Moraine Lake. And many hotels actually offer free transit passes for guests, so be sure to look for those when booking. I'll leave more information about this in the video description below. Moraine Lake and Lake Louise are the 2 most popular glacial lakes to visit within Banff National Park, so they deserve their own section in this video. Let's talk about Moraine Lake first.
Gente, alguém que visitou esse lugar pessoalmente, me deixe dizer nos comentários, essa cor é realmente assim? Porque, assim, a gente sabe que às vezes o vídeo altera a cor, e isso é muito, muito turquesa. Isso é perfeito. Me deixe saber nos comentários, porque eu custo acreditar que isso é verdade.
New for 2023, the road to get to Moraine Lake is closed to personal vehicles. This means that the only way to get there is to reserve a seat on the Parks Canada shuttle, book a guided tour, or take Rome Transit, or cycle the 28 kilometers from Lake Louise to Moraine Lake. So if you want to get there for sunrise, you'll have to book a spot with the Moraine Lake Bus Company. This is the only company providing sunrise shuttles to Moraine Lake. It departs at 4 a.m. to get you there just after 4:30 in the morning. For visiting Lake Louise, vehicle parking at the Lake Louise Lakeshore parking lot is extremely limited, and finding a parking spot is challenging throughout the summer months. You'll probably vehicle parking at the Lake Louise Lakeshore parking lot is extremely limited, and finding a parking spot is challenging.
Olha como esse lugar aqui é mais colorido. Parece até um parque aquático. Vocês são muito bons em turismo. Impressionante.
Throughout the summer months. You'll probably have to get there before 7 a.m. and they will turn you away once it's full. So basically, you're better off taking the shuttles if you can. Weather in Banff can vary and be unpredictable in the summer months. It can be scorching hot, with temperatures reaching into the low to mid-30s, this is Celsius, or it can be as cold as 10 degrees and raining, or even snow on a summer day. So I recommend dressing in light layers. And because of the mountains, clouds can get socked in, and there's a chance that you could have cloudy skies blocking views of the mountain peaks. But even still, misty mountain peaks are still beautiful in their own way. And keep in mind, even in summer, you can encounter snow. For example, we stopped for a little hike along the Icefields Parkway, and this footage was taken at the end of June. It was warm and sunny, I was wearing shorts, but there was still a decent amount of snow along the trail. And some summers are extremely dry, so there's always a risk of forest fires that create smoky air. These are just some of the things to be aware of that most people don't realize when planning a trip to Banff. For way more detail about weather in Banff throughout the seasons and what to expect, I do have a much more thorough video that covers all of this. If you're an international visitor, you can plan to pay for most things on your credit card, debit card, or using tap technology like Apple Pay. Visa and MasterCard are accepted everywhere, while American Express is not as widely accepted, but some places do take it. You won't really need to worry about using cash except for some tips. If you want to tip hotel housekeeping, the bell desk, tour guides, etc., it would be a good idea to have some cash on you. When you dine out at a restaurant, tips are not included in the price of your meal, and most people tip anywhere from 15 to 20% or more. Since there is only one tax in the province of Alberta, where Banff is located, the tax is GST and it's at 5%. So an easy way to figure out a tip is to multiply the tax by 3 or 4 and you have a reasonable tip amount.
Gente, que curioso, porque essa cidade parece que não é tão grande, pelo que eu entendi. Se eu estiver errada, me corrija, mas você já tem muitas formas de pagamento, até mesmo por aproximação. Isso para mim é chocante, porque eu moro no Rio, é uma cidade turística, mas pagamento por aproximação só começou a se tornar muito popular nos últimos anos pra cá, sabe? Agora tá realmente bem popular, mas demorou bastante pra isso acontecer. E vocês já têm tudo isso. Realmente vocês são muito tecnológicos.
The Icefields Parkway is arguably the most scenic road in Canada. It connects Banff National Park to Jasper National Park. It will take you about 3 hours to drive the entire length. The drive is absolutely majestic, with lots of beautiful stops along the way. But if you're short on time, you only have to drive a portion of it to experience its splendor. There's great pull-off spots for photo opportunities, picnic areas, hikes, and even viewing glaciers. Just remember though, if you're planning to go for a cruise along this parkway, make sure you have enough fuel, as it will be a long time before you find a service station. Besides the breathtaking scenery, one of the most magical sights in Banff National Park is spotting bears and other wildlife, like elk, moose, deer, and mountain goats. While encountering these animals can be a highlight of your trip, it's essential to respect their space and safety. Always stay a safe distance away from wildlife and never attempt to feed or approach them. And please don't get out of your car to take closer photos. When hiking, make noise to alert bears of your presence and carry bear spray. Remember to store your food and trash properly to avoid attracting wildlife to your campsite or picnic area. There are these bear-safe garbage bins everywhere throughout the park.
Lixeira à prova de urso. Nunca tinha visto isso antes. Caramba! Incrível como vocês pensaram até nisso. Realmente vocês pensam em todo um sistema. Muito, muito inteligente isso de vocês.
Dispose of your garbage safely. If you do want to get up close and personal to wildlife and have a higher chance of seeing some animals, I do recommend you book a wildlife viewing tour with professional guides. I've left links in the video description below for the best tours. Now that we've covered essential travel tips, you probably want to know what to do and what's worth doing, and what you can realistically fit into your trip itinerary. For that, I'll go over a more detailed list in a future video, so please leave me a comment if you'd like to see that. But for now, here's my quick list of what's worth seeing and doing. Obviously, we've covered Lake Louise and Moraine Lake, but we've also got Bow Falls, which is a lovely walk from the Banff town site. Johnston Canyon is pretty majestic and it's a really easy walk, so it's good for kids or seniors. Only in the summertime though, and it does get crowded. Lake Minnewanka and Vermilion Lakes are great spots for sunrise or sunset, and especially beautiful in the fall. As for activities, I recommend the Banff Gondola for sightseeing and the Banff Upper Hot Springs.
Deve ser sonho passear
Along the
nisso.
Icefields Parkway, the most famous attraction is the Columbia Icefield. Doing the snow coach on the glacier is probably a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but it is expensive. So if money is of concern, it's just as impressive to drive up to the toe of the glacier and take the 10 minutes to walk up to the glacier. You can walk on it, and try sipping some of the runoff. It's majestic, and photos don't do the immensity of it justice. The skywalk is mostly an upsell gimmick, and you can only do this if you pay for it. Honestly, it's not really worth the money in my opinion. Pito Lake is a nice spot for low-effort views. So we stopped for a quick little stretch break at Pito Lake. I used to think it was called Pado Lake, but apparently it's pronounced Pito. This is one of the most famous lakes along the Icefields Parkway. Definitely worth a stop. It's only about a 5-minute hike to get up here, and the views are amazing. This is just showcasing a little Instagram versus reality. It definitely gets busy here, but please don't be like these people and jump fences just to get a better photo. Barricades are there to protect the fragile environment, and everyone is usually pretty good about taking turns at the best viewing spots here. Other favorite hikes are Tano Mountain, Sulphur Mountain, Larch Valley and Citadel Pass, Stanley Glacier, and Boom Lake. I hope this video has helped you plan your trip to Banff National Park, but as I mentioned several times in the video, if you're visiting in the summer, it does get really busy, which is why we actually prefer to go a little bit further west and spend a few days in the Columbia Valley, anchoring ourselves in a village called Radium Hot Springs. The mountain scenery is just as beautiful, the town itself is Swiss Alpine themed, it's much less busy, and less expensive. The hot springs are so much better, and there are so many deer and bighorn sheep that roam through town.
No meio da rua.
This is one of the reasons we love Radium, is because, like, seeing deer and bighorn sheep like this is literally a daily occurrence several times a day. You're gonna run into this every time you come here. It's pretty cool. And I know I mentioned don't get out of your vehicle to see the animals. Well, this happens when you're walking down the sidewalk here in Radium. So check out my other videos.
Gente, meu Deus, estou chocada. Literalmente esse lugar dá pra você fazer tudo, dá pra você ir em qualquer época, porque foi mostrado imagens aqui quando estava com neve, imagens do verão, e é perfeito. Imagina você poder visitar um lugar assim. E bom, ela mostrou os preços, eu não achei muito caro, me deixa a sua opinião aqui embaixo. Eu não sei qual é o valor do salário mínimo no Canadá, mas eu achei acessível. Aqui no Brasil as coisas turísticas são muito, muito caras e muitos brasileiros não conseguem desfrutar do que a gente tem. Então, quando eu vejo vocês com isso, eu fico encantada. É perfeito, sabe? Tipo, a cor da água desse lugar é muito lindo, parece até que você tá em outro planeta, de tão bonito que é. Eu fico encantada com isso e a forma como vocês são muito caprichosos em tudo, até mesmo nos hotéis. Eles têm uma atmosfera muito bonita, sabe? É muito cinematográfico. Realmente, quando eu vejo essas imagens do Canadá, eu sinto que eu estou vendo um filme, na verdade, na TV. Porque, pra mim, tudo que eu vejo aqui é coisas que eu já vi só em filme, sabe? Então é muito doido pra mim acreditar que isso tudo é real. Vocês são muito caprichosos, as ruas são lindas, extremamente limpas e super, super decoradas. Eu adoraria conhecer um lugar assim. Mas bom, essa foi a minha reação, eu espero que você tenha gostado desse vídeo. Se você gostou, considere se inscrever, vou adorar ter você por aqui. E se você já for inscrito, não esquece de ativar as notificações. Então é isso, obrigada por assistir esse vídeo e nos vemos na próxima reação. Tchau!